Good evening again, Tom McCoy, and let's get started with the November 4th meeting of Mycological Association of Washington, D.C. I think we have a good show for you tonight. Look forward to hearing all of our presenters. So tonight's program, I'm going to get things kick-started with some club news and events, Fungi in the news, then Saranella, our programs chair, is going to tell us a little bit about some of the fungi we've been seeing in our neck of the woods lately. Then our culinary chair, Cindy Ryan, is going to tell us how to cook up some of those fungi. And then they're excited that we have president of the Western Pennsylvania Mushroom Club, our sister club. She's going to continue her talk, great talk she gave us earlier in the year, telling us about some of the local mushrooms we can find, and she's an excellent chef as well too. So maybe we'll get a few cooking tips from her. I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of these guys out there lately. That's I call them the green oysters, but I think the new name, I think the more common name is late oysters, and so I found whole basket full of those the other day. So first thing, it is time for board nominations. According to our bylaws, we propose the slate for the 2026 board at the November meeting. Then we vote on it in the interim, and we announce it at the December meeting. So a lot of these are going to be familiar names. Hoping to stay on as club president for another year. Alan Perper, who is our current secretary, is going to get a promotion. He's going to become the new vice president. I'm very thrilled to have both our treasurer and 4A's chair coming back again, Matt Cohen and Mitch Fournay. The programs chair, equally thrilled to have Saranella coming back for programs again next year. Ditto for Cindy. Tom Moore, who is unable to join us tonight, is going to continue on in his membership chair. And then I'm very excited. I had a walk yesterday or on Sunday with Natalie. She's Natalie House. She's a good friend of mine for many years now. She's a professional lichenologist, and asked her to join us on the board as our incoming secretary. We have a new person joining the board in 2026, presumably, Susanna. And then our science advisor, Megan Romberg, is going to be continuing on in her role again in 2026. All good stuff. This is a great photo. I just love, I have a real affection for these bird nest fungi. I just think they're the coolest things. Yeah, I see all the little bird eggs in there. Those are peridioles, and they just have the neatest way of doing spore dispersal. It's a splash cup, and so a raindrop falls in these, the little peridioles go flying out of there. They have a tether on the back end of them that's very sticky, that if everything works right, they will kind of cling to a piece of grass or something and swing around in the air, and it's just a great way to wind disperse your spores. Take a look in your mulch. These things are, whenever they decide to come out, they come out in mass. This is probably the second most common one. This is the fluted bird's nest. All right. So if you attended our mushroom fair this year, you already know this was the best mushroom fair we've ever had. We had over 900 people come out for this thing, as best we can estimate, and it was awesome. We had so much enthusiasm, great, splendid table of mushrooms out there, and everybody just had a phenomenal time. April, did you? I'd love to have you give us your take on it, since you went so far above and beyond organizing this thing this year that you really set an impossibly high standard for future fair organizers.
Oh, it was fun. I appreciate everybody who came out. We had Mother Nature who cooperated also. Yeah, it was just a really nice mix of, demos. On the right there's my friend Erin who does cool mycelial sculpting. Um, we had a kids table. Well, it was an art table. We had adults too. Some interesting vendors. We had microscopy. And our past president had her undergrove game. We had a mushroom educator. You could see in the tiny photo there, with a little sensory box. So just kind of a really nice array of activities for all kinds of enthusiasts. We even had an author talking about her book on psychedelics and aging. So thanks again for everyone who volunteered or came out.
It was a perfect storm of events and lack of storm too. We were worried all week because the weather forecast looked like it was going to be a challenging day, and it turned out to be a beautiful autumnal day. So, yeah, same time next year. And then we've been busy doing some other stuff too. The On Sunday, I co-led a walk at Rock Creek Cemetery. This is a really old cemetery. Goes all the way back 1712 in the district. Here's a couple photos from it. Lichens grow on tombstones, so we go out and do this walk every year during Halloween. I co-host it with Natalie Howe. I just spoke about her, and this is where we end the tour. This is one of the great pieces of art in the entire world. So I like to end there and give a little dissertation. This is probably the only mushroom walk on the planet where you hear more about art history than you hear about mushrooms. But we have a good time and we have a nice turnout every year. So I always look forward to that. The other thing I wanted to mention, for past whatever it's been 3, 4, 5 years, I've been running a photo contest for the club. The deadline will be on November 9th, and I will give you some more details on where to send your lovely pictures in the post meeting email. So keep an eye out for that in the next day or two. Send me your pics, and look forward to seeing those. And then another upcoming event, we're in November, so not a lot of walks scheduled except for the occasional lichen foray. But we do have DNA that goes on every month. And so next time that's scheduled over at Mount Rainier Nature Center, Saranella's facility in Prince George's County. That's coming up on November 16th. And that is, I consider that to be critically important work that we're doing for conservation, trying to come up with a very good accounting of the fungi that are growing in the DC metropolitan area. This picture was included in last month's slides, but I thought it was so good it needed to be in here again. This is a great picture of a aniseed funnel. This is a Calibia odora. It smells like anise. That's one of my favorite flavors as well. It's a great picture. Some of the save the dates for the coming year. There will be a nymph foray. That's the Northeast Mycological Federation in Mount Alto, Pennsylvania. That's not too far away from DC, only about an hour and a half. Those are great outings, loads of workshops, and really outstanding identifiers, lectures, etc. Just on the other side of the Pennsylvania border at Mount Alto is one of the Penn State branch campuses. So you want to keep that weekend open so you'll be able to attend that. Have a NAMA foray like every year. Next year it's going to be in somewhere in Michigan in the Upper Peninsula. Don't have a date for that yet. Barbara's here tonight. I meant to ask her before the meeting. They always schedule a foray in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's outstanding. I've probably been to it 10 times for the great Gary Linkoff. Do you guys have that scheduled yet, Barbara?
We do. It is going to be October 9th. If that's let me make sure, because I think we were booking 8 and 9, but that is the Friday. So the main event is always Saturday. But we are in Cook Forest on Friday. So next year it'll be October 9th will be in Cook Forest, and then October 10th, Saturday, will be in North Park Lodge.
North Park Lodge is North Park, Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
North Park, Pittsburgh is an outstanding place to have an
Yeah.
event.
Yep.
Really lovely park. And in case you've never been to Cook Forest, I would consider that to be one of the,
Yeah.
if not the premier old growth forests on
Mhm.
the eastern seaboard. You just have incredibly mature forest there. It's fantastic. Some of the biggest hemlocks and white pines that you will ever see anywhere. And then my favorite weekend of the year, Sequanota. It's a great time. We're going to be it'll be over Labor Day weekend. I'm still trying to lock down our guest mycologist. At the moment, we have at least I have one of them locked down, trying to work on another one or two. So stay tuned. I'll let you know who those are as soon as I have all those details figured out. And then Mushroom Fair, again, more or less same time next year. We'll be back at Brookside Gardens. Beautiful Brookside Gardens once again. Okay, now it's time for some fungi in the news. Here is a nice picture of Zarumphalina kaufmannii from We Are the Champignon. They call this the crossvein troop mushroom. It's kaufmannii. There's two of these mushrooms. They look identical. One is kaufmannii that grows on deciduous dead logs, and campanella. It grows on dead logs of conifers. But honestly, I can never tell the difference because once they're dead and they have moss growing all over the logs, I mean, how can you tell which is which? But doesn't detract from the beauty of the mushrooms. Love that picture. Okay, this is a news article that our treasurer Matt Cohen sent to me, and it's not very in depth, but I thought it was a really nice summary of some of the latest trends that we've been seeing in mycological products. And this includes, but it's not exclusive to some of the work that's being done on mushroom-based textiles like faux leather, and of course meat substitutes, fungal based meat substitutes have been around for quite a while. I think corn with a Q was the first to do that, but there seems like there's new products coming online all the time. Packaging materials seem to really start to be scaling up now. And of course, every time you go to your local mega market, you're seeing more and more specialty mushrooms. So that was a nice kind of quick read, giving you a brief overview of just how important mushrooms have become in the last few years. Man, mushrooms are having a day. And then here's one that I got on that our membership chair forwarded to me about psychedelic mushrooms. I thought this was really fascinating because I didn't even know that anosogby mushrooms, we call these things fiber caps, have psilocybin in them. And apparently they do, along with the traditional magic mushrooms, psilocybe mushrooms, and both of them contain psilocybin. But what they found in this research, uh, where you have these two very distinct groups of mushrooms that are not at all closely related on the phylogenetic chart of kingdom fungi, that they they both produce psilocybin, but the way that they do it is completely different. This is like if somebody got on a, if two people got on the subway system in New York City and both ended up at the same destination, but they both took different trains and different routes to get there. Completely different enzymes involved with it. So, kind of the thing that you can take away from this is that even though it's often debated about why mushrooms produce psilocybin, what is uh, the the functionality of that? Why is it facultative? That's hotly debated. I don't know if any will ever nail that down, but considering that you have different mushrooms who are going through different processes to end up with that, it has to be important to certain mushrooms to have that secondary metabolite. Here was another one. This came up on my news feed because I do a little bit of mushroom cultivation and I buy my stuff from North Spore, generally speaking. And this was just a nice little brief article from one of the founders of North Spore. And he looks back over a decade of growing mushrooms and kind of gives a couple of best practices, so to speak. And, they're pretty simplistic, but if you're thinking about getting into the space, maybe this is a good place to start for you. Like some of the labels for different sections where contamination happens, and it does, that it's unavoidable or largely unavoidable. And to start with the tried and true variety. So, don't make lion's mane the first thing that you attempt. You'll probably get disappointed with this in a hurry. And then, if you know me, I love lichens. So whenever our membership chair sent this out, it was an automatic entry into Fungi in the News. According to this new international study, they believe that lichens were very widespread for more than 410 million years ago. And this has long been a theory that's been proposed in the scientific community that lichens are not really marginal organisms, but they were really key pioneers in the transformation of the Earth's continents and helped to create the soil that allowed plants and later animals to really make the move onto the continents. So that was very cool to see that. And this is more on a personal note, not really a Fungi in the News, but I live in central Pennsylvania now, and I'm also involved with Central Pennsylvania Mushroom Club, and they organized an outing over at Penn State this past weekend, which I thought was I really enjoyed it a lot. So Pennsylvania produces more than 60% of the Agaricus bisporus mushrooms in the United States. So that's button mushrooms, cremini mushrooms, and portobellas. And the overwhelming majority come out of southeastern Pennsylvania near and around Kennett Square. So Penn State University, which is an agricultural university, they have been instrumental in developing protocols for commercial mushroom growing all along, hand in hand with those growers in southeastern Pennsylvania. And I thought it was really interesting to see that the two of the most lucrative patent in the history of Penn State and another patent that was also very lucrative were related to mycology and commercial mushroom growing. The first one was how to what we all use now, the grain spawn patent that went all the way back to 1932, and then the spawn mate, which is a delayed release for nutrients for mushroom culture, and that was in 1976. And both of those patents subsequently funded dozens and dozens and dozens of other research projects for the university. So I thought that was pretty cool. This is the one little alcove in Penn State Library. That's the Patee Library, but this wing is called the Paterno Library. The Paterno stacks for the famous football coach there. And this is called the knee bone room because a professor emeritus, Dr. Leon Kneebone, was a famous mycology professor at Penn State. So pretty cool. All right, that's everything for Fungi in the News.